Howdy, guys, and welcome to night number 27 of the Overnight Feeds recaps for Celebrity Big Brother Season 3. And welcome to Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. All right, we had our big night last night, the 2-hour live show, double eviction, all kinds of excitement leading up to it, all kinds of wishful thinking that we had. Well, we've got our final three, and unfortunately, perhaps not the final three that a lot of us were wishing for. You know, we had some other choices that we may have been kind of hoping for as well, but it is what it is. Of the final three that are left, from strictly gameplay perspective, we got two of the three who probably deserve to be there, and we probably could have predicted from about the second week that they were going to be there. But it is what it is. We've got our final three. We're going to find out who the winner is on Wednesday. So, first of all, not a lot of conversation taking place after the episode rolled itself. Certainly no strategic conversation whatsoever. Their work is basically done. It's one more competition and then the jury votes. So other than preparing a final two speech, there's not a lot of big moves or anything else that need to be made at this point. So not a lot of conversations taking place. So we're gonna talk about the episode itself, and then we'll talk a little bit about what happened afterwards. But we're basically done with the season, right? So it is what it is, and we'll move on from there. So with that in mind, let's talk about the episode at first. First of all, we had the HOH or the veto competition. Where everyone had to slide down a ramp. Yeah, I guess it fit in with the Winter Olympics that no one watched, but they had a Winter Olympic kind of theme of going down on a luge, laying on top of a dummy mannequin or something. Whoever could get to the base in the target time, get closest to the target time, would win the competition. Very similar to my season's Crimea River, where we did something similar, but we went down in kayaks instead of luges. And we had much better costumes. I don't think we had costumes at all. Can I just say, whoever is a costuming person that picked the costumes last night for that luge competition, thank God it wasn't my season. Because, I heard Todd mention he kind of looked like a Teletubby. Yeah, Todd, I sympathize. I would have fit right in there with you. I'm not sure that I fit in with stretch, shiny lycra spandex, whatever that is. So, it was an interesting costume choice. Certainly brightened up the occasion, I suppose. But the difference that they had from my season, Crimea River, and the luge last night was that in my season, we all got to take one move. You went down one time. Whoever got closest to, I think it was 10 seconds, 9 seconds, won the whole competition. Last night, they did it better, I think. Last night, it was head-to-head. Randomly, two people were picked. They go against each other. The winner then picks the next two people to compete. I like that better. Now, it didn't make much difference last night because we know that it was Todrick and Misha against everyone else. So not that big a deal. During my season, I think we had 10 people, 9 people at that point in time. It would have been interesting to force people to show their loyalties a little bit more. So I hope CBS keeps more head-to-head competitions in Big Brother competitions going forward. I always like seeing that. So we have the competition. As it turns out, Todd wins a veto. For those of you who watch the live feeds, we already knew that was the case. But now we actually got to watch to see how Todd won it. I got to say, Todd's won a variety of competitions. This is a little bit of a skill athletic competition. He'd already won that tasting competitions involving the palate. He's a man of many talents. He's the most special man in the world, right? I think that's what Lamar said at one point. So, congratulations to Todd. Staved off eviction a little bit longer, pulled himself off the block. And as a result, unfortunately, we lost Lamar Odom. I got to say, he didn't know the game, but I really came to like this guy more and more the more he was in that house. He had some interesting stories. He was fun to be around. Even when he finishes the season off, he talks about that Todd's become his sober coach and all. Just a lot of feel good stuff happening with Lamar. So props to Lamar for playing the game that he did, especially with him not necessarily having the grasp of Big Brother that others did or didn't in some cases. But I like seeing Lamar in the house. So Lamar goes home. Now, it was interesting. It was a 1-to-1 vote, which Todd had promised he was going to force a 1-to-1 vote to force Todrick to break the tie. Todrick breaks the tie. Lamar was so good-hearted. He walked out. He wasn't taking it personal, which is the way you play Big Brother. Apparently, Todrick was a little mad. Lamar was going to be mad at him. Nah, not now. Maybe when you get out of the house, it'll be different, but not now. Lamar took the game the way it's supposed to be taken. He treated it as a game, just like one of his NBA games. You fight as hard as you can, and win or lose at the end, you walk away, you move on with life. So props to Lamar for being fun to watch. It was interesting. So now, with that in mind, we're now down to the final four, and we go right back to the double eviction. Supposed to be some huge surprise. Oh, Lamar said, yeah, they were all talking about it. They knew it was going to be a double eviction. We all knew they knew as well, but a double eviction. So they go right back to another HOH competition. This next competition is, I think they call it BB Flicks Film Festival, which is exactly the same competition I used during my season, which I think ours was BB Flicks and Chill. So we did the same competition. Swaggy and Bailey actually hosted our competition during my season. But the exact same deal. You see 3 movie posters, kind of parody posters. You start hearing people describe what kind of movie they want to see, and you quickly rule out one. You listen a little bit longer, you rule out the other one. Whoever hits the right movie poster first wins a point for that round. Most points at the end wins the competition. So it's a fun competition to watch as a viewer. Because we can play along, we can listen, try to see how quickly we get it along as well. Now, here's the thing. Here's how to beat that competition. Coming from the guy who didn't win it, but I still know how to beat the competition. You've got 3 posters you've got to pick. As you start hearing the discussion, fairly quickly you hear the commenters, the talking, eliminate one of those 3 posters. So now it's one of only 2, right? People always listen to get that last identifying bit of information, slam their button as quickly as they can, and hope they beat the other people in strictly reflexes. Once you hear one poster eliminated, so you're down to one of only 2, take a random guess. A, B, or C, whatever. You know one's eliminated. You've got a 50-50 shot of winning, right? Theoretically, if there's, say, 9 rounds and you've got a 50-50 chance, then you should get 4 or 5 points. You should be able to beat everyone else. If you get 50% of the points and everyone else is splitting the other 50%, you should be able to win, right? It makes sense mathematically. I tried that during my season. Unfortunately, I guessed incorrectly on the first poster, and Mickey got it right. So the second time, I slowed down. I waited to hear all 3. I got it right. So I changed my game strategy and ended up losing as a result. I still think if I'd stuck with my original strategy, I would have won it. But whatever. So there you go. A little insider how to beat the BB Flicks type competition in my own personal opinion. But enough about my season. This season, I thought Cynthia or who was in there? Cynthia or Todd. I thought Cynthia or Todd were going to win it. They were both ahead. They were looking good. At one point, Todd is up 2-0. In the beat. Misha comes back, wins of the very final round. It's tied 2-2. So I guess they had 7 rounds. 2-2. Misha gets it. And then Todrick. That's it. Misha wins. I'm thinking ahead a little bit. Misha wins the competition. She's HOH. Now, here's the thing. HOH didn't really matter that much other than just giving Misha safety. She can't be sent home at that point in time. What it really came to was the veto competition. And unfortunately, for some of the house guests still in the house, the veto competition this season was a memory competition, knowing your days when different events occurred. Now, they had a little extra thrown in that once you decided what day it was, you had to roll a ball and try to tip your ball into the panel for that specific day. But it all came down to, did you know your days or not? And we just saw in the live feeds the night before, Misha and Todrick up in the HOH room going over their days, practicing all the memory and all of that. So we knew they were prepared. And sure enough, they quickly show us just how prepared they were. I don't think Todd and Lamar spent a lot of time going over their competition days, nor did Cynthia. It was pretty obvious. This was a dominant effort, a blowout from the very beginning. Misha and Todrick you knew they were going to win it. Todd really didn't have a clue. Cynthia not much better as well. They couldn't keep up. So sure enough, I guess it's somewhat appropriate. Sure enough, at the end, it turns out it's a tie between Todrick and Miesha. They have a tiebreaker of asking how many seconds for the first competition till Teddy fell off. I don't remember, but yeah, it is a tiebreaker. Miesha won that as well. Miesha finished off with a lot of competition victories, right? That certainly has to, I think that was a huge dagger in Todrick's game. Not that he'd had to have a whole lot of other daggers already that have been placed in his game, but I think this was huge. If Todrick had been able to win the veto, Miesha won HOH, then maybe you argue that, yeah, we both contributed this, and that. The fact that Miesha won both competitions, I think that's just going to be further justification. If it comes down to a Todrick Miesha final two, it's going to be further justification, further excuse for all the other house guests to vote Miesha's way instead of Todrick. I think not winning that tiebreaker, I'm not sure it makes a difference in the end, because I think it'd still be tough for Todrick to win. But I think that kind of seals the deal that I just don't think Todrick's going to win if he's up against Miesha. Against Cynthia, we'll talk about that. I'm not really sure. But anyway, so there you go. So as a result, Miesha controls the veto as well. She doesn't change it. So sure enough, it comes down to Todd versus Cynthia. I don't think anyone is surprised that she chooses to, or not she, that Todrick chooses to keep Cynthia in the house, sends Todd out the door. Now, that's what people always talk about, say, oh, the winner of that final veto gets to decide who goes home. Well, not in this case, because Miesha was already HOH. Even though she won both competitions, the power actually went to Todrick, who made the decision. But he did the same thing Miesha would have done. He sent Todd, the strongest competitor, out left, but except for them, sent him out the door. So we got our final three of Cynthia, Todrick, and Miesha. They're going to be competing on Wednesday. All right, well, we'll see what happened. Now, we did find out the finale has changed. Normally, in a regular season, you have your final three. All three compete in the first leg of a final three competition. The winner of that is guaranteed a competition to determine the final two. The two who didn't win compete. The winner of that one goes up against the first winner. The winner of that final third competition gets to decide who they want to take to a final two with them. So normally, you've got three more competitions that take place. We found out last night that's not the case. We're going to have one final HOH competition. Whoever wins that gets to decide who they want to take with them to the final two. So we'll find out. I think it's going to be live on Wednesday, so we'll find out. Now, we also did find out that Chris Kattan, because he's self-evicted, will not be allowed to vote as part of the jury, which I absolutely agree with. Nothing against Chris, but if you leave, you don't get to participate. So instead, it's going to be America that's voting for that final. Basically, it would be a tiebreaker vote. If it came to a 4-4 tie, if it's not a tie at that point, our vote doesn't really matter. But if it is, we get to decide who the winner is, which is not good news for Todrick, no matter who he's up against, right? Definitely not what Todrick, I don't know. I don't think it's what he wanted to hear. So with that in mind, let's talk real quick about what did happen in the feeds. Again, not a lot of strategic talk, so it's going to be quick, but we'll talk a little bit about it. We've got Cynthia talking, saying she's really curious what people are saying about the show, that she's ready to get out of the house and check online, see what people are saying and all that. Yeah, okay. Hey, you maybe you got a lot of reading to do, Cynthia, and I'd be curious to see how much her perception may match up with what she actually sees. She may want to have a conversation with Carson and let him get her up to speed before she goes out on social media. But she's curious about how people are receiving the season. Miesha and Todrick are in a big love fest with each other, and not literally, but they certainly are happy with each other. They're saying, both of them are saying, they'll be absolutely happy if the other one wins. Well, really? I don't think so much. I think both of them competitive people. They both want to win, but they're saying all the polite things to each other. I'll be perfectly happy if you win. No, that's not going to be the case, but they do talk about that. They're both talking about, they're amazed that being potentially the two biggest threats, that they were able to make it to the final three. Miesha's saying, man, when I won that very first HOH, I'm an MMA fighter, and I thought the target would be huge on my back. And Cynthia comes in and says, oh yeah, no, we were coming for you. You just played a good game. And there is something to be said for that. There were one or two times where they could have gotten Miesha out, but they sent other people home instead. There's going to be a lot of regrets from some of these. There's regrets from all the house guests every single season. except maybe who wins. They probably don't have a lot of regrets, but all the rest, well, even some of those have regrets sometimes. But the rest of us, we always have regrets about this or that. You play the best game that you can, but they're amazed that they both made it to final three. And to some point, I'm amazed as well. They played a good game. They did what they had to do to get there. So they're talking about that. Todrick says that even if people are mad at them, they have to respect the gameplay that took place. Yeah, I agree. I respect the gameplay. I think getting Shayna out instead of Misha was a brilliant gameplay move. So yes, Todrick, I respect the gameplay. It's some of the personal attacks. It's some of the attacks against house guest families. It's those things that I don't respect. But gameplay, you're absolutely right. I respect it, and I do keep the two separate. They played strategically a decent game. It's just some of the peripheral stuff that we're a little concerned with, and they'll have plenty of time to discuss that once they get out of the house and discuss. I hope they do. All right, we've got Todrick worried about America being the tiebreaker, being on the jury. And worried that we maybe haven't seen everything we needed to see, how the stories were spun and all, but he's worried about America making the final vote, as he should be. Yes, he absolutely should be. So we've got that. He's worried about what people think of him, and then people might be saying, he's the most annoying house guest ever in the house. Well, first of all, ever is a very low hurdle. There have been some annoying house guests in this season over the years, so that's a heck of a hurdle to go underneath. But he's worried that people are going to just consider him incredibly annoying, and that's sure annoying is the first word that comes to mind. He is definitely an attention seeker and all that, as are a whole lot of people that come onto the show of Big Brother. But yeah, he probably needs to be a little concerned about the way people think. Again, there's a lot of social media that they're not Todrick fans, right? So he'll have some stuff to talk about when he gets out of here. I don't want to go into a lot of detail with that. Let's just talk about the game itself. But they are wondering if Misha maybe has the most comp wins ever in a season of Big Brother. Well, first of all, they're only in their 29 days. They only started off with 11 house guests, so they didn't have nearly as many competitions to take part in to begin with. So I don't think there's any chance. I haven't checked the records. I don't think there's any chance that Misha has won more competitions than anyone else in Big Brother history. She may have the highest percentage of wins because she didn't compete as many to begin with, but total wins, now there's no way. But she was definitely a competition beast. I'll give that to her. All right, finally, we've got Todrick saying that he turned down Celebrity Big Brother 2 because he was worried that he maybe would be the only Black person in the house. I didn't know he's being considered for Celebrity Big Brother 2, but he says he turned it down, and he talked a little bit about representation and Cinderella and fairy tales and a bunch of different things. A lot of talk going on. At that point, I said, all right, we're done. There's no strategic gameplay being talked about here, so I kind of shut it down. We know who the final three are. Who's going to win the whole thing? I truly think if it's a Todrick versus Misha final two, I think Misha wins it, especially with her winning these last two competitions. Now, if Todrick wins the very final competition and he drags Misha to the end, does that help his chances? Of course. But I still think Misha takes it. Even more so because I expect a very bitter jury. They've been out here. They've been reading everything on Twitter and Instagram and everything. They know everything that's been said, and I think they're going to be bitter. I think that's going to create some influence on their votes. I think Misha wins if it's Todrick versus Misha. I think if it's Misha versus Cynthia, I don't know. I don't know. I think Cynthia's a little bit of a wild card. She didn't win a single competition. She kind of took the Derek Frazier strategy, except she actually may have a chance to win this thing. The reality, though, is if either Todrick or Misha win this final competition, I think they take each other to the final two. And as a result, I think we see Misha as the winner of Celebrity Big Brother Season 3. We'll see. Guys, I've enjoyed it. I'm not sure. There probably won't be a lot to talk about tomorrow morning. We aren't going to have any. I don't even know when the live feed shut down. If there's anything important, I'll come back and talk about it. Other than that, we're going to call it quits. I love doing these things. Thank y'all so much for the support. I do appreciate. I appreciate all the comments y'all leave every morning as well. I love the conversation. I love Big Brother, celebrity or regular, either one, US or Canada. It's just a lot of fun watching the way these people play the strategic games. This one has been kind of interesting. So with that, guys, y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. We got the finale Wednesday night, and then we'll see. We got Big Brother Canada after that, and then regular Big Brother. It's Big Brother season. So, guys, y'all have a fantastic one. I will talk to you later, my friends. SKD 143. Cheers. Bye.